everyone, it's Maria, and I'm going to be honest with you right from the get-go. I'm kind of torn because I know that there is seemingly a trend towards much longer videos on BookTube lately, which is why it's been harder for me to watch because I haven't had as much time to watch things lately. I still don't feel like I want to do super long videos and super long vlogs, and I hope that's fine with you, I guess. But I did want to continue the channel, so I'm going to be doing it however fits me at the time. I suppose over the summer you might get some longer stuff. If you have things that you want me to say more on, that's fine. Maybe you're tired of me, I don't know. We're all in a weird mental space where we don't know how everybody's taking things anymore. We have been quarantined since March 13th. I've gone to the grocery store twice, which is crazy to me because it's almost June. I've had a couple deliveries from people, but we have some immunocompromised people in our family, so we're being extra careful. We've decided to stretch our homeschool year longer into the summer just because my husband will be working from home throughout the summer. Another reason I haven't really filmed because he's home more, so I get to hang out with him. Another thing that has been different the last few months, I have not been able to read, like physically can't focus on pages. So if you are one of those people who feels guilty about not being a different person in the pandemic than you thought you would be, don't worry about it. We're all different than we thought we'd be. I finished Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and I finished most of Vincent van Gogh's Shoes book, which I don't remember the exact title of now. I'll probably talk about that at some point. Other than that, I could not focus on a book. Even audiobooks I'm having a harder time with unless I'm sitting longer. I have not, however, had a hard time buying books, which is what this video is about. You guys know I don't really buy books for myself most of the time. Most of the time I just use the library. They were my number one pandemic regret, was not getting more from the library and not getting more fun things from the library. I got a lot of serious stuff right before. That was stupid. I don't know why I did that. I should have gotten like thrillers and fluff. Anyway, I discovered, along with betterworldbooks.com, which I might have told you about before, or you might have heard about before. I love them. They do charity work, and they also have good prices and free shipping, and it's an Indiana company. I found thriftbooks.com, and they have an app, and you can earn free books and points, and I don't know, I just fell in. So this video right here is going to be me showing you the books that I bought just for myself. Not even the ones I bought for my kids. That'll be a separate video, guys. I never do this. Yeah, it wasn't that expensive. Most of the books were $4 or a little bit less. Couple of them were $6. So I don't feel really guilty about it because we're not going on vacation. We're not doing anything else. However, it does mean that now that I've started reading slowly again, I need to actually read the books on my shelves. So that said, I will go ahead and show you the books that I got during the pandemic for myself. First up is Flight of Dreams by Ariel Lawhorn. Not only has this been on my TBR for a very long time, I think since it came out, which is in 2016, 4 years. I have been kind of interested in the Hindenburg. I remember watching the Rocketeer movie when I was a kid, and I just thought it was the coolest movie. And there was the Hindenburg, and it just, I don't know, it seemed like a very interesting time to live in. However, I never really dove into that deep hole of research on that. I have been watching the show called Timeless on Hulu. I'm so all in on this. I love this show. I'm not going to say it's my favorite show, but it's getting me through the pandemic. The first episode, they go back in time to the Hindenburg, and that just reminded me that I needed to read this book, so I bought it. Next up, I didn't buy this one, but a viewer sent it to me, and I'm going to be reading it. Parenting, Let's Make a Game of It by Karen Thurm Saffron. It looks really good from what I've thumbed through so far, but I got it right before all of this kind of came crashing around us. And I think I had a couple of vacations right before it, and then, yeah. So I will be reading this, and I'm excited about that, and I didn't have to buy that one at all, so that was good. It's the only the first book first book that I've gotten for free for my channel. So 4.5 years. So don't think this is like a thing that I get. Next up is What Einstein Told His Cook, Kitchen Science Explained by Robert Wolfe, and it has recipes in it. So I'm super excited about that. My middle is very into cooking, and I've been reading Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, which I got for Christmas this past year. And it talks a little bit about some kitchen-y science and stuff. I have been falling into a science hole, mainly because my boys are getting older and need more interesting science grabby tidbits to get them intrigued. So I thought this would be a good one to pick up. Some of the books that I got are honestly because I'm doing prep work for next school year. This one is because we are finishing up our biology over the summer with plants, and it's The Botany of Desire by Michael Pollan. He wrote Cooked, Omnivore's Dilemma, which I got the young readers version for my boys. This is a plant's eye view of the world. I don't know. It sounded really fascinating talking about how plants have kind of designed themselves for their benefit. And we humans, silly, I can't even talk anymore, people. We naively think that we've designed plants, but they've kind of taken care of it. This one is by Joe Bowler and is What's Math Got to Do with It? How Parents and Teachers Can Help Children Learn their least favorite subject. My boys are struggling with a couple of math concepts, and so I normally kind of reevaluate our math education stuff. She's written a curriculum if you're interested, as well as several other math books. I love her. She's very playful and fun, but very engaging for non-math people. I like math, but I'm more the simple math kind of person. She makes me interested in some of the other stuff. This one's a Neil deGrasse Tyson, Death by Black Holes and Other Cosmic Quandaries. I think what happened with this one, because there are a couple of Neil deGrasse Tyson books I got for young readers that you'll see in the next haul video. I did a sermon the week after Easter, so in April, talking about how we all can stay connected by reminding ourselves that according to physics, we really all are connected at all times. All the atoms that have been in us or will be in us have already flowed through other people or will flow through other people. And so even though we feel very isolated, we're not. And so that really got me like excited about reading physics, which is funny because really the only reason I passed physics was because my best friend was my lab partner and he is now a doctor in physics and does nuclear physics work. So anyway, I'm beefing up on my physics. This one is for next year prep. It is History of the Medieval World by Susan Weiss Bauer. Big fat one. Again, you'll see a couple more of those coming in. This one is To Keep the Waters Troubled, The Life of Ida B. Wells by McMurray. Let's see. Linda McMurray. I have always loved Ida B. Wells. The articles that I've read about her have been fascinating. I really want to read The Sword Among Lions, I think is the big fat biography of her, but that kind of intimidates me. So I wanted to get something more manageable sized. She is one of the journalists who was primarily responsible for fighting the lynching movements when they were happening. I think she's late 1800s, early 1900s. Yeah, 1890s. So I'm excited to pick her up. I reorganized my bookshelves and realized I had a lot of biographies on the men that I look up to, but not as many on the women. So I remedied that. Here's another one. This is Desert Queen, The Life of Gertrude Bell by Janet Wallach. And this has been on my TBR almost since the beginning of my TBR. And it is a woman who, I think it was like 1868 to 1920s. She did some espionage work. She was very instrumental in doing a lot of exploring. I don't know. I'm excited because I can't go anywhere, so I'm reading about people who can. Nellie Bly was one of my heroes, and Gertrude Bell I think they would be friends. This one, again, I can't go anywhere. So National Parks by Dayton Duncan and Ken Burns, an illustrated history. There's some really beautiful pictures in here. I just thought it would be fun to have out on my coffee table so that we can get some ideas for whenever we can actually go somewhere. This one is The Hour of Land by Terry Tempest Williams. I heard about this on a Book Riot podcast when it came out, apparently 4 years ago. The cover is beautiful. She does a lot of nature essays. I liked her When Women Were Birds book, and I thought it would kind of companion well with my national parks book. Oh dear. This one, when it came in the mail, I must confess that I was like, Maria, is this the ambitious reading that isn't actually going to happen? So now I have to read it. This is called Rambunctious Garden, Saving Nature in a Post-Wild World by Emma Morris. She is kind of a city planner talking about how we can reimagine how we plan cities to work better with wild world life. So I don't know. I'm also in a naturalist class, so I think this kind of flowed in with that. The Dance of the Dissident Daughter by Sue Monk Kidd. Of course, her Book of Longings just came out, and I'm still, I decided I can't purchase another book until I finish at least a lot of these. So I'm not, but I did get this. I think she wrote it. Yeah, it's a woman's journey from Christian tradition to the sacred feminine. And she's just kind of talking about her own struggle to find her way with the feminine divine. I have changed how I view God in a lot of ways. And yeah, I'm excited about what this does to speak to my brain. So this one is actually a reread, but I wanted to own it. So there's that. It's Ian Mortimer, and I love his books. Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England, a handbook for the visitors to the 14th century. It's delightful. He has a couple of these, and there's one more book, I think, of his that I got. He really writes like you're in the middle of time travel. Again, this timeless show makes me feel like I'm traveling through time, which is, one way to travel since we can't go anywhere. So I remember reading the first chapter of this, I think, and I was like, I had never thought about medieval life like that. I'd always considered thinking about it from the royal perspective or the court perspective, but Ian Mortimer reminds us that the bulk of people were not those people, and they would have lived in shacks and houses where they heard people giving birth and dying in the next room over, and they would have smelled all those things. And he really paints a picture well with words. I'm excited to reread this and maybe even pick some tidbits to read to my boys. Next up is Woman, an Intimate Geography by Natalie Angier, and I love the cover of it. I've had this book on my TBR for a long time, and again, I've been thinking about how my body is changing as I'm getting older and how much I need to understand it better. Not because I didn't understand it before, I hadn't spent some of that time on that before, but because we don't have classes on aging bodies, and we don't have classes on what it's like to be a woman who's getting older. And yes, I know I'm not that old yet, but I'm 37. I'm 37, and I'm pretty, I don't know, I'm excited about it, but I thought this couldn't hurt. Next up is The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. This book I've heard recommended so many places I wouldn't even be able to. I think the first time was probably Modern Mrs. Darcy's podcast. It is not time travel, space travel mixed with some theology, because I think it's a pastor, a priest that goes through space. I think it might even be part of a series or small series, but I'm excited about it. It's 4 Jesuit priests, a young astronomer, a physician, her engineer husband, and a child prostitute turned computer expert. Okay, yeah, so I'm excited about it. I've heard really good things about it. I think you probably have seen it somewhere. Oh, yay. Next up is my neighbors have the pool in the backyard on the other side. So I Was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhorn. This is another one by the woman who wrote The Flight of Dreams. It is about the Romanoff, Anastasia Romanoff. And that was a story I remember hearing when I was really young. And I thought, that's kind of an interesting story. I've seen so many nonfiction books of the Romanoff books that I want to read, but I honestly wanted to kind of get a historical fiction grip to catch my imagination first. So I got this one. Seriously, guys, we're not even done. How is this? I went too far. Honey, I'm sorry. I know you're watching. Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. This, you've probably seen everywhere. A Book Olive has talked about this book so many times. I really want to also read Gentleman in Moscow, but I thought I would pick this one up first because of all the other 1920s-ish books. It just felt like it kind of went with it well. Yeah. This is the other Ian Mortimer, Centuries of Change. Which century saw the most change and why it matters to us? I don't know. I just am really into like time travel right now, guys. Oh, yeah. This one is, oh my gosh, all of these are like related to timeless almost. Oh my gosh. Again, honey, I'm sorry. This is In the Garden of Beasts by Erik Larson. This one is about the American experience of being in Nazi Germany at the beginning of World War II and Hitler's rise to power and what that looked like and what that felt like. I might have even started reading this from the library at one point and had to take it back. It has a really pretty cover, but I don't have a cover. But one of the timeless episodes, they're going back to, around this time frame when Hitler's starting to rise to power. I might have just kind of gone all in. Oh well. Next is Persepolis, which is Marjane Satrapi, and I've liked a lot of the stuff I've read of hers before. I might have even have gotten the first part of this. This is the complete, there's 2 parts to it. I needed a graphic memoir just to kind of give my brain a break, I figured, from all the nonfiction. Yeah. And then we're down to 2 more, guys. All right. Raphael by Stephanie Story. This, honestly, I pre-ordered like last year because Stephanie Story wrote Oil and Marble, which is about Michelangelo and Leonardo, who were apparently in Florence at the same time creating Mona Lisa and the David, which are 2, I love the David. Like, I could talk to you about the David for a very long time. You would get very, very bored probably, but when I saw that she was coming up with a new one, I just automatically, so she is very well researched. She is an art history nerd. And so her historical fiction, it's solid research. Raphael, if you don't know the story about Raphael and Michelangelo and kind of the Sistine Chapel and the Pope's apartments, there's a whole bunch of things. And I will tell you that in a separate thing after I read this book. I'm so excited about reading this book because it talks about how their rivalry, their artistic rivalry, and how their personalities played out with how they developed their art. Again, that will be a longer video because I know I will be gushing. And the last one, I did not get this one secondhand. This is from Creative Action Network, and it's What Really Makes America Great. I have felt very sad about a lot of the things happening, and this book is beautiful. It has different art prints by people. This one's innovation, parks. These are just different things, protest, things that actually make America great, with some beautiful art. And I put this on my coffee table so then when I get sad, I can remember there's some really beautiful things happening in our country too. So that is all the things that I purchased for myself. Again, I haven't really done that in so long. But that's what I did. So let me know in the comments, what should I start with? Any recommendations on any of that? What questions do you have? What are you excited to see me read? I would love to hear from you because I've missed you. Yeah, I've missed you. I've missed people. I miss my friends. Oh, we're all there, right? So I will do some more videos coming up in the next week of what I purchased for my kids, what other books I need to have in my library, or not my library, on my TBR for the summer, and just some fun non-booky things that I'm excited to share with you. So I will talk to you later. Bye.